modern dating scene appears to be a battlefield between men and women, digging in on both sides, complaining and blaming each other as if either side, men or women, have all the answers and it's the other side that has all the problems. My inbox on Instagram is full of people messaging me, men and women, glorifying the aspects of their own gender and what they bring to the table, acting as if the other side or the other gender is not doing enough or is not even contributing at all. So in this episode, I've scoured my inbox to compile a list of some of the most toxic themes, myths, and perceptions between both men and women in the dating game. And I do my best to dispel so many of the rumors and the false perceptions that both sides are having as we try to find a way to meet in the middle and find love. And I just want to say right off the bat, some of y'all are going to be upset by some of the things I say. Some of the men, some of the women, absolutely, you should be. There's no point in this if we don't start to ruffle each other's feathers en route to pursuing success in the dating space. If we don't actually step on each other's toes in some capacity, then we ain't doing nothing. So join me as we try to tackle this issue together. So first, myth number one is from the fellas, and it's that all women are feminists who hate men. First of all, this on its face sounds as dumb as it is. All anything is a terrible way to rationalize an argument. There are obviously going to be exceptions, and you can't sum up all of anything when you have a limited scope yourself. You've not met all the women on this planet. So if you're starting that way, you're already off on the wrong foot. It's pathological thinking, unhealthy thinking based on reaching straight for a spectrum, either all good or all bad. It's completely lazy. It's emotionally and intellectually lazy. So that's my first point. My second point though, is that from what I've been reading in my inbox, it seems like so many of the men who are saying this are basing their opinions strictly on what they see online, what they're seeing on social media, which is completely asinine. It's completely biased sampling because what you see online is not real life. It's just what your algorithm feeds you. So basically you're indulging in confirmation bias and you're okay with it. And then you're using that confirmation bias to then judge the other sex when you're still trying to find love. It's stupid. It makes no sense and it's not helpful. Stop it. Knock it off. Separately, social media itself rewards some of the worst aspects of human existence. It's not evil, it's a tool. Social media is a great way to expand your reach to other humans, to see what other humans are up to in life. Cool. Right there with you. However, it also rewards, as far as attention goes, the most loud of the people out there online. Healthy and happy people aren't really on social media like that. You know why? You know why they're not? Because they're actually out doing healthy and happy stuff. They're not worried about what other people are saying online because they're actually out there living their life. So the people you're likely seeing online, the women who you're, as a guy, feeling like they're all feminists who hate men, they're the loudest among the women who you see online, which is one, it's a very narrow sample, but then two, it's not representative of all women. It's just the women you see. I lived in Baltimore when I was in college, and for the longest, I would see some of the most unfortunate circumstances befalling women who were using drugs in the area. I would see them every time I left my dorm. See them on the corner standing there with the hair on lean, like basically, every single day. But they weren't representative of the population of women that I was trying to date. So I'm just saying, if you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're constantly judging people, man, at least be thorough. Stop this intellectually and emotionally lazy tactic of using very, very biased information, which is what you see online, with God knows what that is, and then using that as a way to judge or as a barometer for what women are. That's just not true. And I'm not letting women off the hook either here. If women do the same thing, it's equally wrong. It's, again, if you're serious about finding love, you got to actually commit yourself to working hard and judging circumstances with insight, not just grabbing surface level data and then using that as a justification for your own frustration or anger for not being able to obtain or achieve the relationship that you so desire, or to get the attention of the woman that you like. And also, while I'm on that subject, if you don't get the woman that you want, it's not anyone's fault. I'll be careful here. It may be your fault, but likely it isn't. In most cases, it's not personal. If she don't like you, she don't like you. Let it go. It's cool. You ain't gonna die. You're gonna make it. But seriously though, to any man out there who says all women are any one thing or all women are X, I have a few questions for those kind of men. How many women do you know? How many women do you actually engage with? How many women do you speak to? How many women are in your life? How many women have you even dated? Where do you get off having this perspective where you are in a position to judge the 4.13 billion women on this planet when you only know 6? That ain't enough. Do more research. Get out there and play the game versus sitting on the sidelines complaining. And with respect to the amount of women you know, ask yourself truly, how many of them do I know on a social, emotional, or intellectual or romantic level? These are all nuanced concepts. And if you don't have any frame of reference, but you're throwing out comments about what all women are, I suggest you do more research. Do better, man. And again, I don't hold only men to this standard. If women have been filling my inbox up saying this kind of stuff, we're going to get to some of the things that the women have been saying, but I have the same comments. Like, do better. First of all, you have time to write me, just some dude on the internet, then you absolutely have time to actually get out there and do better research and stop scrolling through your phone and judging the huge swaths of the population based on some of the few videos you watch on TikTok. And I'm not sitting here judging you guys as an entity apart from you, because I'm human too. I've been there. I know what it's like to face rejection from women and to even briefly feel like blaming women or feeling like lumping all women into the same category of the individual likely who hurt you. When I was in the 7th grade, I won't say her name because obviously she may find this, but when I was in the 7th grade, there's a girl that I liked. I had a crush on her. She was one of the ladies who developed early, if you know what I mean. And I was very interested. I was in class one day and she was in my class, and then she actually got up and came across the room and she slipped me a note. Like, she wrote something down on a note, she folded it up nice and neatly, she handed it to me. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, we are in this. It's time for me to be special, to be the man that I know I am. But I'm too cool, so I'm not gonna open the note right now. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna hold on to the note. I'm gonna go through 3rd, 4th, 5th, all the way through 7th period, and take my bus home. I get home, I'm like, you know what? I'm finally home. I'm gonna sit down, give me some lunch, and then I'm gonna open up this note so I can read how much she loved D, So I open this note up and I read, and it goes, I can't say exactly what it said because I don't want to get censored, but she said, you look like the kind of person who would do intimate things to themselves when no one's watching. And I'm stunned because, again, I'm in the 7th grade, I'm 12. So I don't know what she's talking about. Like, I guess I'm dancing around it a little bit just because I don't want to be vulgar, but just imagine the kind of things you would do alone, naked. She said that is what I look like I would do when no one's watching in public. And my ego went crashing to the ground as a 12-year-old. And I was mad. I was pissed. I was like, why would she do that? I wasn't bothering anybody. I was sitting at my desk or my table, just chilling, doing my work. She got out of her seat, man. She went out of her way to write a note and to fold it and to give it to me with this sweet, hey, Deontay, there you go, man. I'll see you later. Just to say some mean, nasty comment like that. It bothered me. But as a 12-year-old, I caught myself starting to think man, I ain't never going to try to, get a girlfriend, at least not at this school, because she did that. And if she liked that, then everybody else liked that, which would have been wrong and incorrect and poor sampling. Like I've been saying to these people online, or at least in my inbox, writing in, saying this kind of stuff to me, that women are essentially all feminists who hate men who are the problem. Some women do, I'm sure, and they have their reasons. I'm not here to argue for or against. You have your reasons, none of my damn business. However, I can't speak for all women, and I refuse to believe that all women hate men because there's 8.8 billion people on this planet, so obviously procreation's happening. Go out there and do your research, and if you get a note from a random person in your 7th grade class, throw it away. Don't read it. But yeah, now that we got the first one out the way, let's go on to myth number 2, and this one is for the ladies out there. So, men are trash, don't get married. I can't tell you how much I've seen that in my inbox. People just being real nasty to me too. Hey man, the DNA of love is BS. Men suck. They're absolutely trash. Women are being oppressed and they shouldn't get married. First of all, just like with the men, vast overgeneralization. You don't know all the women out there and you don't know all the men. Anyone who's writing that and encouraging people to not get married, I have so much to say about that. But I'm gonna try to break it down as respectfully as I can. So, like I promised with the fellas, women who believe that all men are trash, this is something that you cannot say based on your own experience because you just don't know enough men. And if you know men who've hurt you and they put you in a position where you maybe don't feel like men have value, then I ask you to do some of the emotional work of scaling back a little bit, looking at your life and asking yourself truly, like, why do I feel this way? And I'm not saying you have no reason to feel this way. You might have a strong reason to. The men who've been in your life might have done some real damage. They might have given you complete legitimate reasons to feel like men aren't safe. There are many millions of men out there who are not. And I'm not going to pretend that that's not true. However, just because of your personal experiences, just like with me and the girl in the 7th grade who slipped me that note that said that awful stuff to me, I can't judge men for holding vast generalizations about women without holding women to the same standard. It's equally intellectually and emotionally lazy to just formulate an idea of a huge swath of the human population based solely on your personal experiences. I recognize the utility in doing something like this because it helps keep you safe. But safety is essentially survival, and survival is not living. And if you want to find love, which I know you do, stop lying. Anyone who says they don't want to find love, I'm calling BS. Complete Bravo Sierra. There's not a human being on this planet Earth who doesn't like it when it's there. Now, you may know what it's like to have it snatched and taken away from you, and I completely respect the people who have that philosophy, it's better to have loved than lost than never to have loved at all. Or who feel like, you know what, I've been hurt so much that I'm not even going to try to dip my toe back in that water. Understood. I'm not going to fight that battle for you. But let's not pretend that when it's good, it's not good. And when it's real good, it ain't great. So yeah, that brings me to our next point. Internet guidance on what you should be doing with the most intimate aspects of your own personal life is rarely good. People online are just talking. There's no checks and balances to make sure that people are saying things that are actually factual. They're speaking largely from emotion. They're speaking largely from a place where they are telling you more about themselves than they are about you. At the end of the day, they're just running their mouth, and they really have no place to be telling you anything about how you should handle things like relationships and marriage. And that's why I never tell people what they should do. I give a perspective. If you appreciate the perspective, great. If you don't appreciate the perspective, also great. This is a resource for you to take, consume, and then make decisions on your own in your own life. But I would never tell someone to get married or not get married, because that would be crazy. I don't know you personally. And neither does anyone online telling you that you shouldn't be able to do some of the things that human beings have been doing since we've been in existence. You're allowed to want to get married. You're allowed to be a romantic. You're allowed to feel like you want love. It's okay. It's human. It doesn't make you any less human to admit those desires, and they're not weaknesses. It's what makes every one of us who can feel it special. It makes us even more special that we can give it. But yeah, overall, when it comes to internet advice, scrutinize everything you hear. Recognize that social media, including this podcast, all of it is a business. It's absolutely a business. And sometimes it's easiest to maintain attention on your business by saying the thing that's going to strike at someone's heart in the most aggressive and most efficient and direct of ways. And if you are one of those people who are easily moved emotionally, then these tactics work to get you to pay attention to when they say things like, don't fall in love, don't get married, men are trash. They're very provocative statements. And if you're dealing with certain things in your life that make you easily or quick to emotion or emotionally volatile in these particular arenas, then this tactic will work on you. But I'm arguing that you should be tighter with who you get advice from and information from and scrutinize it accordingly. But for my last point, when it comes to this idea that men are trash and that you shouldn't get married, this is absolutely an opinion without a solution. They're just stating a problem and giving you nothing else to go on. So they're essentially walking into a room, taking a dump on the floor, and then leaving, riling up your emotions, getting you impassioned and emotionally inflamed about this idea that men suck and that you shouldn't get married, that you should commit yourself to being whatever woman you really, really want to be. However, when it comes time to figuring out, well, what do I do now? Where's my solution? How do I find love with this dynamic? They don't give you any solutions. They give you nothing at all. And if you are a person who cannot separate this idea, this cynical worldview from fact, then I argue that you've taken the internet a little too seriously. And you've not done your work when it comes to learning how to scrutinize fact from opinion. Also asking yourself, if a person's telling me to do something this extreme, like not get married, why? What do they get out of it? Why would they want to bring strangers into this space, into this sphere of not connecting with the opposite sex, not having love, not forming families, not doing the things that seem to be traditionally relevant for most of society? Ask yourself why. And I can't answer those questions. I have some theories for sure, but I can't answer them because I'm not the one promulgating that idea. However, it's something to be concerned about when you hear someone telling you what to do with your life. And never forget that misery loves company. So many people who made poor decisions in their own life feel better when they can bring in other people into their community by comparison. So if I've made poor choices in my life and my relationships haven't worked out, and if I've had a broken family or a divorce or 2 divorces or 3, and I've not been able to find love, or I've struggled maintaining relationships and I've not been able to cultivate the family that I've been hoping even once, never even being married, then it may feel a little better by comparison if I can try to convince myself that this is a standard that I should set for everyone else and get everyone else to join in on the quote unquote fun of being alone. Like, that's not cool. And again, people who are trying to get you to do things to harm yourself, they tend to want you to do things that match the way they see the world because their worldview is usually negative and cynical. You don't hear a lot of happy people out there and successful people online screaming, complaining about stuff, yelling, telling people how to live their life to be better. And you know why you don't hear about them? Because again, like I said before, they're happy out there doing happy person shit. And that's cool. But recognize that the people you see online giving you so much advice that's telling you to do negative things with your life, they're likely not happy themselves. And I know that's very grandpa-like advice, but it's true. They are struggling and they want you to struggle too. Don't get on the struggle bus with them. But yes, that brings us back to the fellas and myth number 3. And that is that being a good husband means being the boss. This is completely asinine. First of all, think about that term, being the boss. Have you ever worked anywhere? The manager at a McDonald's is the boss. The manager at a Office Depot or a Home Depot is the boss. Oftentimes wielding power arbitrarily, telling people what to do even when they don't have to, just to satiate their own ego and to feel like they're moving the needle on life. That ain't cool. That's not aspirational. You don't want to be that. And again, not taking shots at people who are managing McDonald's or being managers at a Home Depot or anything like that. But what I am saying is not somewhere you want to be in life where you're aspiring to be something that is just controlling people just for the sake of control. That's not in charge. That's just micromanaging. It's conflating the idea of being a good leader with being the boss. And nobody, first of all, a leader is somebody you follow voluntarily who actually helps you because they have a sense of direction that you can believe in. You follow a strong leader because they've given you reason, compelling reason to believe that they can get the job done. So if you want to be that for your household, that's great. But a boss who's just being the boss is just, first of all, oppressive. It's oppressive as hell. And oppression leads to rebellion, inevitably. And the idea that you're going to oppress somebody for years and years and years and stay happy in a relationship, everyone on this planet has their breaking point. And you can't oppress someone forever. Eventually, they're going to leave you. And then you'll be the former manager at the McDonald's, managing a family that ain't no longer there. So being a good leader in the space, and I'm not saying I ascribe to this theory, but this idea that if you're going to be a good husband, you should be the boss. I think what people in my inbox are really trying to say they believe is that being a good husband means being a good leader for your family. And I go, all right, you know what? I can hear you out on that. I'm not saying I completely agree with it, but I can hear you out on that concept. I ask, how do you do that? How do you compel the person you're with to want to feel like, you know what, I trust this person to get the job done? How are you leading by example? If you're saying you're a good husband and a good husband equals quote unquote a good leader, sure. But what do you do to make your wife think so? Do you remember her birthday? Do you actually show up when you say you're going to show up? Are you places where you say you're not going to be? Like when the kids need something, are you there for the kids? Are you able to defend your household? Are you able to manage household affairs regardless of whether they're gender norm to men or women? Are you able to do leadership shit? If you're not, and you're just a dude in the house eating every day, using the bathroom every day, and then saying you're in charge, could you bring a check? That ain't nothing, man. These days, 2 checks are coming to the household anyway. So just existing as a man is not enough. You got to do the job. And then after doing the job, take inventory of your household. If you're doing the job well, theoretically, you're not listening to this podcast and you damn sure not writing into my inbox. Like that's for sure. But if you think you're doing the job right and you just happen to be listening, ask yourself these questions. Are you the person you say you are? And are you giving your wife a reason to believe that you can get the job done as a man? I can't answer that for you. Only you can answer that question. Are you the guy in the car driving, not because your wife can't drive, metaphorically speaking, not because she doesn't have her license, but because she trusts you behind the wheel? Are you the guy who she can go to sleep next to you in the car, metaphorically speaking, with the kids in the back as you travel down this journey of life, and you're the one cruising and she knows, well, my husband's not going to get lost. He's not going to fall asleep at the wheel, and he's going to make sure we get to where we need to get safely? Or are you the husband who's constantly looking at the GPS, doesn't know where he's going, and then when it comes down to it, is complaining at her that she ain't helping you enough because she's sleeping? That don't sound like a leader to me. That sounds like a man who's just complaining, thinking he's doing leadership shit, but not really, just kind of existing in the seat, but not actually driving the car. And I'll tell you something, the women who are in the passenger seat in those circumstances, they're going to take the kids. They're going to get their own car. They're going to drive off. What you do with that information is what you choose to do with it. Hopefully I wasn't being too harsh. I guess I'll never know. I'll check the comments and see what my inbox says after this episode goes up. But that brings us to myth number 4, and we're going back to women here, where it has basically come to my attention that a lot of people, women mainly in my inbox, are saying that all men only want one thing: sex. And before I even start to address that directly, I want to extend an olive branch here. First, I want to validate that feeling. 100%, there are millions and millions of men out there who just want sex, who are not safe, who can be violent, and who can be aggressive and harmful. And if it feels like there's so many of those men out there and they're the loudest, I completely understand why a woman would feel like I should pay attention to those loud individuals for my own safety, even if there are men out there who are good men. Because the good men sometimes aren't around. Sometimes it feels like you're surrounded by just these awful dudes who only want one thing, which is not helpful for a woman in the modern age who's trying to find love, who's trying to find a way to make this thing work and start a family. It can feel impossible at times. Like, what if you're from a small town? What if you're in a big city? You're in Manhattan, and it just seems like, man, all these dudes around here suck. And it's just the opposite of being in a small town where it's just overload. I'm tired of going on date after date after date after date and trying to figure this out with these dudes who seem to be basing their dating approach on a one-track mind standpoint. So I get it. I respect it. 100%. I would never say that this feeling or this sentiment is coming out of nowhere. However, I got to push back a little bit. And this is hopefully not going to be offensive or harsh, but I think this leaves a wonderful opportunity to acknowledge a real social truth when it comes to the dating courtship dance. And that is that women hold all the keys when it comes to social intimacy. In any regard, women decide whether we, now again, I'm excluding violent men. I'm excluding men who break the law. I'm excluding men who attack women who do terrible, terrible things. I'm talking about the typical average dude who may or may not be a good person, but isn't going to do anything harmful physically to get what they want. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the average guy. In those situations, context-wise, women hold the keys, and you retain the power to lock out men who don't deserve intimacy, who don't deserve closeness, who don't deserve your attention. Where it becomes crazy, I think, is that men are aware of this, and we're aware that women are competitive, and we're aware that women are at times not always on the same page. So you may have one woman whose standard is, I'm not going to sleep with this person for 2-3 weeks, a month, 2 months even. And I'm really going to make sure that their commitment is here for this relationship and not for these temptations of the flesh. And there's women who will sleep with the guy the same night they meet him. So, I mean, I'm not judging either end of the spectrum. I'm just saying it's hard for women to form a unified front when you have both of those types of women existing, and it's all disorganized and sporadic, socially and culturally speaking. That being said, each individual woman has an opportunity to be wherever she feels like she needs to be on that spectrum to keep positive, good men accessible and to weed out or exclude men who are not those things, who don't really want to start a relationship or family. And to be honest, speaking as a guy, it becomes increasingly meaningful, especially as we mature, when we recognize that there's a woman who has a standard, who is not saying, hey, I'm not going to let you touch me for 3 months because I said so, and that's just an arbitrary line that I'm drawing in the sand. But they're saying, hey, realistically, like maturely, I like to wait a couple months, few weeks, get to know you. Maybe you don't have to put a time limit on it, but maybe some people should, but maybe you don't. Maybe you go, it's not exact, but few weeks, few months. I really want to see how well we vibe. I don't want you sleeping over within the first month. I don't want to sleep at your house for the first month. We're only going to have our first few dates outside in the daytime or indoors in the daytime. We're not going to do nighttime stuff because nighttime stuff leads to nighttime stuff. So we're going to try our best to try to keep things at a distance. And when women do this, we respect them. We appreciate it because we're not, contrary to a lot of opinions, we're not dumb. We recognize that this is a game we're playing. This is a dance we're all doing. And it's okay to be aware of that. So when we see a woman who's willing to play the game, who's willing to dance in a way that maintains her elegance, that maintains her dignity, and she's setting a boundary that she's sticking to and she's like serious about, even if a man doesn't like it. First of all, if a man doesn't like it and he leaves or he puts pressure on you to want to not be in the relationship anymore, because, oh my gosh, if I don't sleep with him or if we don't do anything, he's going to go, then congratulations. He just did you a favor. He sucked. He was not about the life that you are looking for, theoretically. So let him go. Let him get out of there. You can do better anyway. However, good men, not all, but some good men will stick around. Will actually learn if they like you, and you will learn if you like them too. You'd be surprised how well you can understand a person's vibe or how well you guys mesh as people when you don't have the sexual component in the way. Because otherwise you're just talking. And if you can't talk and enjoy each other's company, like I don't really like this person as like friends even, unless we're being physical or unless that is a ultimate pending goal, then there's nothing that can be done. It's like our relationship ain't really built on anything. So I can't stress enough, women, you have the power here. And I'll give you an example. When I was dating this girl who was Turkish German and she was Muslim, and she was very much devout Muslim when we started dating. Like she was adamant, told me, her dietary restrictions. She prayed when she needed to pray. And she also told me like absolutely no sex or physical sexual contact before marriage. And I was like, you know what? I actually liked her. I was like, we cool. I wasn't a virgin at the time, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this out. I actually like this person. I'm going to just hang out and we're going to go to the movies. We're going to go get food. We're going to do all this date stuff. And then we're going to see what happens and then see if we fall for each other. And I remember one day, it was a long day. We went to the zoo, we got some food, and we were going back to our cars. We parked at the train station and then we're going back to our cars to, get ourselves together and then possibly go out for dinner later on that night if we weren't still tired. She got to her car first. I jumped in it so she can drive me to my car. As we drive to my car in the parking lot at the train station, we go to get out and I hug her. And when I hug her, she starts kissing me. And I was like, Now, obviously, I recognize the boundary she set, but I was like, I'm cool. I'll rock with this. If we don't seem like we're aggressively breaching the boundary, because it sounds like maybe I misheard her. Maybe she wants to be able to kiss. Cool. While we were kissing, her hands landed in my lap aggressively, like she was digging for gold. And obviously I'm attracted to her, but I stopped us and I told her we should go before it also was broad daylight too. So it's like in public and her windows weren't tinted too. And I'm black. So I'm trying to make sure I'm not going to have any problems. But I told myself like, all right, I gotta go. And I remember as I was walking back to my car, I could feel myself kind of losing respect for her. Not because she wanted to engage in sexual contact, but I was losing respect for her lack of conviction to the boundary she set, especially considering the boundaries she was setting were religious. It made me feel like, man, this ain't special, man. Like if she's willing after only about a month and a half, 2 months of dating to go for my crotch, how many other dudes has she done this with where she told them the same thing? I felt like kind of annoyed that I was really willing to commit to maintaining the boundary that she set and respecting her in that way. And then she just crossed it like it didn't mean anything and didn't even address it. So we didn't make it. But yeah, had I been younger, I would have just ignored all of it and then just went 100 miles per hour and tried to score, I guess. But I was a little older and I was like, you know what, man, like I'm not 16. I'm not some child. Like can do better than this circumstance. And if this is how she feels about her most devout conviction, her religion, then what other things would she just go back on in the drop of the hat just because she felt like she should in the moment? I just couldn't have it. So I let her go. But that brings us to our last and final myth for this episode. And that is myth number 5. And this is for men and women. The I deserve to be treated like a king, or I deserve princess treatment. This is something that I get in my inbox constantly. I have this one guy who writes me every single week listing off how I'm hurting men by telling women that they have agency. And he's a lot more aggressive in the tone that he uses. And keep writing in. I appreciate it. I look for you every week. But this theme is not unique to that one guy. Everybody who is male or female who thinks that they deserve king treatment or thinks you deserve princess treatment, I want you to listen really closely. Really, really closely. If you really believe that, if you really think that you're that kind of person who deserves to be treated like royalty, at the bare minimum, you're a bad hang. Nobody wants to hang out with somebody who behaves this way. You bring nothing to the table but you, and you expect everything. It's not an enjoyable quality in a human being. You're a parasite. Nobody wants to hang out with someone like that. I'm not even talking about dating wise. I'm talking about friendships. Like, who wants to bring the friend around who thinks that they deserve everything without contributing anything? Not me. I'll pass. I'm sure I'm not alone on that. Which brings me to my next point. The world owes you nothing. In the great words of Mark Twain, the world owes you nothing. It was here first. The idea that you walk around thinking that the ground you stand on is royal and that everyone should wait on you hand and foot, beyond just friendships, dating wise, you're setting up an impossible standard for 99.9% of the planet. What you're showing people is that you're not appreciative of anything. Like, realistically speaking, if we're looking broadly, you should appreciate the fact that you're even alive. First of all, during the procreation process, there are about 300 million sperm cells. And of the 300 million, only 200 total have a real shot at even fertilizing. And of those 200, just one gets to be the sperm that fertilizes the egg to produce life, to produce you. Appreciate just that you've overcome tremendous odds just to be here, and be grateful for this world that we've been given. But there's nothing grateful about walking on that same earth expecting more. All that we're guaranteed after life is death. Everything else is a bonus. So stop being a bad hang. And one more thing. Having self-esteem and self-worth and value is not the same as entitlement. Self-esteem, self-worth, and self-value is the internal locus of control, the internal understanding that you have value, that you are meaningful, you are special, and you bring something to the table. Entitlement is expecting everyone you meet, regardless of the context or the relationship, to recognize that value and to appreciate it, and beyond appreciating it, to worship it, which is not realistic. And like Mark Twain said, they don't owe you anything. They don't have to. Have self-esteem. Believe in yourself 100%. Know your worth. Know the things that you should be able to obtain and achieve in life. That's all fine and dandy. But also recognize that every second you spend with someone else within a relationship context is symbiotic, or at least it should be. It's a trade-off. You're giving up pieces of yourself and sharing pieces of yourself with someone who's doing the same. Just showing up ain't enough. If you are a person who deserves to be treated like a king, could you marry somebody who wants princess treatment and who just thinks that showing up is enough, just like you think showing up is enough? Likely the answer is no. You wouldn't be compatible. You would repel each other because you're both parasites sucking off the teat of relationship love that should be there in a healthy context but isn't there in yours. It's gross. The idea of princess treatment and king treatment is just disgusting. And if you have a relationship, do your part to be a strong significant other, to be a strong other half. Do things that actually balance and help the relationship more so than just expecting the relationship to give to you for nothing. The relationship is supposed to be a home, not a bank. You don't just withdraw. You bring things to the house and you maintain equity in the home. You build together. You don't just expect the house to be there without any sort of maintenance or effort. Again, like I said before, the loudest people on the internet are not the most common. They're just loudest. So I'm hoping that this trend of princess treatment, this disgusting, nasty trend of wanting to be treated like a king by people who don't even know you like that, like, I hope it's just this aberration that's not going to be around that much, and that it doesn't really affect that many people at all. Like, it's just the weirdos we see online telling other people how to be real men or how to be real women. Which, if this were the case and these people who were saying this kind of stuff were truly happy, like I said before, they would actually be out being in love. They wouldn't be telling you about anything, because there's not enough time in the day to be happy and to be negative. Can't do both. You can't turn left and right at the same time, if that makes sense. But yeah, hopefully all of this has been helpful to those listening or watching. And I'm going to do multiple volumes of this because I just went through 5 that I compiled over the last week or so. But there are so many more gross or toxic man versus woman themes, not just like in my inbox, but in the zeitgeist right now. And I think this is going to be a series where I break it down in multiple volumes where we address some of these themes and discuss the prevailing norms that are potentially based in fact. And a lot of the things, most of it, that's based in fiction, that's not helping anybody find love in a way that's efficacious and meaningful. But like we always do, we're going to end with some listener feedback with some questions that folks have written in over the past week on Instagram. So first we have Kenny from Las Vegas, and he says, I think I might like one of my female friends and I don't know how to tell her. I'm a junior in college and we've been in the same friend group since about freshman year. I want to be honest with her, but I'm afraid that I've waited too long. How do I get out of the friend zone? Kenny, I hate to break it to you. You don't. You're in the friend zone, buddy. I don't want to be a pessimist here, but the friend zone is like the sunken place in Get Out. Once you're in it, someone gotta rescue you. Like, you don't rescue yourself from the friend zone. The only thing that can pull you out of the friend zone is a new environment, a new context, or maybe her disclosing that she likes you. And it doesn't sound like she does, because let's keep it real. She knows you're in the friend zone. There's not a woman alive who doesn't know which one of her friends are firmly positioned in the sunken place, in the friend zone. And Kenny, you sound like you might be that. So you have a few options here. You can do nothing and you can continue to fall in the sunken place, as it seems like you've made a pretty comfortable home since freshman year. Or you can be honest and direct and let her know how you feel. However, if you do that, you run the risk of blowing up the friend group because you're introducing romantic drama in what sounds like a group of platonic friends. But if you love her, which you might, it may feel worth it. And you might be ready and willing to do so. And I say more power to you. There's a lot of people on this planet. You a junior, you graduate next year, you can get some new friends, but you're always going to wonder like, man, I should have took my shot. I should have saw, or at least tried to see like if the relationship would go anywhere. I can't tell you or recommend which one to go with, but I just want to say in general, if you are in the friend zone, chances are you ain't coming out of it. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but I'm saying if you would have had an opportunity, there would have been opportunities and you would have picked up on it because it would have been obvious. Chances are she knows you are there and it doesn't seem like she wants you out of it, but I don't know her. So Kenny, let me know what you did. Write back in and let's find out whether you were able to pull yourself out of the sunken place and land yourself back on solid ground. But next we're gonna go to Christina from Seattle. And Christina says, so I love my husband, but he doesn't shower as much as he should. How do I tell him that he stinks? Oh, and I'm getting a little worried about his weight gain over the past year. Help. Well, Christina, first of all, he's your husband and you love him. Be direct and respectful, but be direct. If he stinks, you knew he stunk when y'all got married. Like, your hygiene doesn't fall off a cliff. Now, granted, he could be, you might want to check in on him because, like, all jokes aside, depression is a real thing. And these sound like the hallmark beginning steps to the onset of a depressive episode, potentially. But there will be other signs than just hygiene, but hygiene is a strong marker. I'm willing to bet, though, that this isn't new for him because you know how hard it is to make a commitment to just not washing your backside anymore? Like, I'm just done. I'm not washing my ass no more. The day that happens, something real is happening and you need people in your life like you, Christina, to let you know like, hey man, something's happening here. I don't know what it is. Maybe you're not depressed, but if you are, let me know. I would say approach it from I'm trying to help you standpoint. I'm trying to do my best for our relationship. And if you got kids, setting a good example for the children. You can't have a grown man stinking in the house. That's just not cool. That's just not cool. It's bad for everybody. I imagine it's affecting your sex life as well, because who wants to sleep with somebody who's gaining weight and smelly? Like, that's not cool. But yeah, be direct and approach it from a place of concern, not trying to pretend that, hey, I'm trying to make sure we clean each other. Like a lot of people would say, make it a us thing. No. You can be direct. Like, hey, I've noticed about the last 3 or 4 months that your hygiene has slipped a little bit and you're kind of smelly. And one, I want to be honest with you because I do love you very much. But two, you're going out in the world and I don't want you out there. Like, it's my job as your spouse to make sure that we as a unit look good and that you don't go out there looking crazy, just as much as I trust you to do the same. Don't let me go out there looking crazy either. So I'm doing this for you the way I know you would do it for me. And see what he says. If that's too direct and too painful, start buying soap and just leaving it around the house. Just leave it around the kitchen, multiple bars of soap around the bathroom sink. Like, put it in his nightstand drawer. He reached for a pair of socks. He pulled up Dove. Where's all this soap coming from? It'll start the conversation, I'll tell you that. But yeah, let me know how that goes. I'm curious to see if he ever starts cleaning himself. But all right, we got one more before we get going. We got Mac from Texas. All right, Texas, we got ourselves a country boy. We're gonna have to do this one in a southern accent. Just make sure we keep it authentic, you know what I'm talking about? So me and my old lady been together for like 10 years. We got a good home and a loving family and all that shit. My only problem is she got a bad temper though. She don't go at me too much, but her road rage become a real problem. Doc, how they get her to cool out a bit? Let me tell you something. Nah, all right. If she got a bad temper, you know what? I can't even. So I used to have a bad temper when I was a kid. I grew up in a lot of rough neighborhoods, and to this day, I still keep my anger management book in my backseat of my car. Haven't used it for years, but it's just a good reminder to know that just because you mature and you develop doesn't mean you can't slip back into old habits if you're not cognizant of them. That being said, if she got a bad temper, you gotta be careful on how you bring that shit up, because she might haul off and, you know, check you on. So I would say, if y'all got a good thing going on, y'all been together for 10 years, first of all, she trusts you. At least sound like theoretically she does. Try to bring it up in a way that's silly, but also representative of something that's meaningful. If y'all got kids, and I'm assuming you said everything's good with the loving family and being at home and all that stuff. So I'm assuming y'all got kids. The road rage can be a problem. It could harm your children. Like, also, and people are crazy out there these days. They're shooting in the cars and stuff. And you in Texas where people got guns. You don't want to have a circumstance where your family member ended up being a casualty to something that was stupid to begin with. So I would argue that approach it from that angle. Like, hey, I care about you a lot. And I love that you like, be honest. Like, maybe you like the fact that she got a little edge to her. That temper might keep y'all safe in some areas too. But recognizing that we got to set a good example for our kids, and we got to do what we got to do to protect our kids. And right now, if our temper causes some problems and kids get hurt, it's on us, because that's mom and dad. That's what we're supposed to be here for, is to make sure we do our thing for them. And then see what she says. If she got a bad temper, I'll tell you one thing a lot of people don't do with people with bad tempers. They don't tell them that they got bad tempers because they're afraid of the bad temper. So she may not have heard it from anybody her whole life. So give her a shot, man. She might actually be more reasonable than you think. And then write back in. Let me know if you write back in and she hits you, like, God forbid, hopefully she don't hit you. I don't want you getting in trouble. But yeah, let me know how things turn out. I want to hear, did she end up hearing it from you and trusting you and appreciating the feedback? And then if that's the case, like, what y'all did for it going forward. Anger management is good help, and like couples therapy for anger is a thing, and it could be meaningful. It could bring y'all close together. It could help reinforce and enhance the trust that y'all have together. But that about wraps us up for today. I appreciate everybody for listening. This has been a lot of fun. Keep writing in. It helps add some spice to every episode. Again, this is going to be a multi-part. Men versus Woman Volume 2 will be coming soon. As I always say, define love to find love. If you absolutely say you're a person who wants to find love and wants to develop a relationship that's meaningful, or if you have it already, make sure you never lose that definition. You term it out, you understand what it means to you in a real practical and concrete way, and then maintain that standard for as long as you're living on this planet with the people who matter the most. If you can do that, you give yourself at least a fighting chance to develop and maintain the relationships that mean everything to you, and you can form the families and start the foundational communities internally within your household that you've always hoped that you could. Thank everybody for listening. Don't forget to continue to support on all other platforms for social media: Instagram, TikTok, The DNA of Love with Dr. Williams. On YouTube, like and subscribe, share, keep engagement high. and absolutely hit that notification bell so you can be notified on any new episodes that may be coming out. All the support helps. I appreciate it so much. You guys mean the world to me. Helped me get this podcast off the ground over the past year. It's been so much fun. Keep writing in, keep doing the great stuff that you guys do. I hope everyone out there has a chance at finding love, and I hope this podcast helps you do it. Really appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Y'all take care now.
I just can't show love. You just said I showed up. Boy, respect your elder. I'm a fucking grown up. Phone them told me go nuts. Run them ain't for no number. No talking at dinner or to begging that eat donuts. Squatty on the come up. I'ma share my bonus. Cases of coronas and my little marijuana. I'ma face a hold up. Rosie's for my soldiers. Tell her hate to hold up. Them niggas gotta show love. Let me show